Oh, wait, we do it this way.
Welcome back to the Comics Aficionados right here on Thinking Critical YouTube, the best damn comic book podcast and web series that you'll ever find. Obviously, here we got a lot of things to talk about. We've got Marvel's Heroes Reborn. Just last week, Joe Corallo and I were talking about how they needed to do a Heroes Reborn. It was supposed to be a punchline. It turns out it's a real thing. They are bringing it back. We're also going to talk about Ryan Stegman and Donny Cates leaving Venom after Venom 200. Is he working the audience, people? Is he using words to throw you off? I think he might be lying. We're also going to talk about DCeased wrapped up this week, Dead Planet. That was excellent. Obviously, I have a wonderful panel here with me today. We will talk to him here in a second, but I do want to say to anybody out there that had thoughts, prayers out for my little 1-year-old that's in the hospital right now, thank you so much for keeping us in mind. He's doing much better. It seems like they fixed what was ailing him. He's staying overnight for observations. Mommy sent me home to do this and a little bit of work, but it sounds like he will be coming home tomorrow. We're very excited about that. We're feeling very, very thankful. So anybody out there that whatever you sent to us, we greatly appreciate it. Now, getting on with the panel, we obviously hear from Comics Exposed. Chris, how you doing?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me on the show. I appreciate it.
Well, I'm glad you could make it. And there isn't right now, but by the time this show is over, there will be a link to his YouTube channel in the video description. Next up, who else we got? We got Yul Carter from Fantastic Comics. How you doing? The heel of the comic book community.
I'll get my glasses eventually. I don't know. I don't feel like such a heel when Doc and Pele are here.
That's right.
Thank you for having me.
Glad you could make it. Next up, we've got Jervain Dargan from Animated Concepts. Obviously, he also worked for Milestone Comics back in the day. How you doing, Jervain?
I'm doing well. Still surviving 2021.
Just barely.
Just barely.
I've had a great couple weeks. Obviously, I've had both of my 5-year-old and my 1-year-old. Been in the hospital. I had a terrible fall. Look, I almost broke my elbow. I got a little burn action. I think you can still see it. It has not been a good week here at Thinking Critical 1, but hopefully better days ahead for 2020. Obviously, also with us is the curmudgeon of comics. Pele, how you doing?
Yeah, it's been a shitty week all the way around for everybody. I think it's pretty god awful. But I can't tell because I'm pretty much angry all the time anyway. So
there you go. That's a secret.
Yeah.
And last but not least is the X-Men historian, the Marvel aficionado, the co-host of Comics Aficionados. How you doing, Doc?
I am spectacular. It is.
And if you're wondering what we're going to talk about today, the lineup is scrolling on the bottom. So if you came back here and you don't watch it live, you'll know that's what we're talking about here as we move on. Obviously, the big news that came out just in the last 24, 48 hours, Marvel's Reborn. Marvel Heroes Reborn 2021 came out with a nice fancy orange logo. We've now got some mashups of characters and things like that. Jervain, I know you wanted to shoot on Marvel Heroes and whether or not they should be bringing it back to 2021.
Absolutely. So when I saw this one, I don't keep up on the news like that to this extent, but Marvel Heroes, Marvel Reborn or whatever it was at the time, it holds a special place in my heart because it ruined one of the greatest runs of all time, which is Captain America run with Wade and Garney. It was.
I agree.
Oh God, it was. That run had such promise, and as much as I have really nothing against Rob Liefeld, I do despise Heroes Reborn, particularly for that fact. What could have been if Wade and Garney had been allowed to go through with that run, and the fact that they're bringing it back, and they're bringing it back in this way, in which it's like, I just thought they did this with the Infinity Shards or whatever it was, where you had like Captain Strange Warp. I thought they just did Infinity Warp, so I'm not sure what this is. I'm not sure what this is about. But my God, it is with the exception of the Fantastic Four one by Jim Lee. I never read any of the other 3 titles. I know they sold real well. God bless everybody who bought them. But my big thing with the Marvel's Reborn thing was that it was just such a product of its time. For some of us, you kind of knew, like, I was actually surprised it did as well as it did in retrospect. But it's like, I definitely cannot stand that run for no other reason than it ruined a great Captain America run. Probably a lot up until what was it? Brubaker and Epting. Yeah, Brubaker and Epting. There wasn't another decent Captain America run since then. So what could have been? If,
Well, you can't have a patriotic Captain America when the Marvel's run by communists. I mean, let's be fair about this. I mean,
I do highly recommend those Wade and Garney issues of Captain America. They came back later on.
Nobody bought them.
Well, I mean, it was still quality, and it was the first time in a long time because Captain America had the helmet on just prior to that and other stuff. It was not good, and they came back to work together, and they just never could recapture that magic, and it was sad.
Yep. That's right.
The thing is, though, prior to Heroes Reborn, nobody was buying them, and that's what it comes down to. Wade. Look, I've never read a single thing by Wade that I actually liked. I think he's a 2-bit hack, and he always has been.
Come on, Doc.
No,
you gotta read 444. Come on now.
Come on, Doc.
No,
come on, Doc.
You're classifying Kingdom Come like that. I know Alex Ross is part of that. I mean,
I'm not still on Kingdom Come.
Come on. Don't even
Come.
try to give me Kingdom Come. The only thing Wade did there was script polishing.
yeah. I mean, Kingdom Come was good, but it was artwork.
Birthright? Yeah. Now you're gonna make me defend Mark Wade. Thanks a
No,
lot.
I thought Birthright was shit.
Okay.
What about
some other
I'm defending Captain America 444. I don't care what anybody says. There's one page in there where Hercules talks about Captain America, which is probably the greatest page ever written about Captain America in the history of Captain America, much less comics.
Okay, one page.
That's all right. I'll give him that one page. People
talk about Kingdom Come. I just want to make a point here. People talk about Kingdom Come. Kingdom Come is a coffee table book. It's beautiful with very little substance in it. It's not well written. It's just really gorgeous. I mean, I've got it sitting on my coffee table over here in my game room, and people leaf through it. And they're like, "This is gorgeous." And I'm like, "Did you read it?" No. Well, there you go. That's then I'm
gonna defend Wade again. I'm gonna defend Wade again because that one page in Kingdom Come #3 was great. Everybody says, well, for those who haven't read about that, it was great.
I will grant you that Mark Wade can write a single decent page from time to time.
No.
He has never
one page wonder.
He's never put together 22 pages in his
one
career.
page, 143 pages.
What's the Bart Allen Flash? Impulse. His Impulse is great.
You know what? I've always had a thing where whatever company Mark Wade is working for is the company that's shit at that time, and it's always been true. Yeah. Every single time when Mark Wade switches companies, that it's because that company has gone to hell.
Okay,
Mark Wade did a decent
Devin Grayson.
Mark Wade did a decent Daredevil series. He did, Mark Wade does street level, gritty kind of single solitary character type things, but nobody with real big superpowers. But just like a gritty street level character, he's fine. All right, that Daredevil was fine. It was actually pretty good. Yep. But you give anybody that has it's really powerful, he doesn't understand it. He's like, he just does, it just goes over his head. Any ensemble cast, oh, fuck that. Everybody talks the same, everybody acts the same.
Well, I'm sorry for distracting off the topic from Heroes Reborn to Mark Wade.
So, I never thought I was going to have to stand up for Mark Wade. Why are you doing this to me?
Doc, can I ask Doc a question?
Okay.
So,
everyone likes his Flash.
What Heroes Reborn were you down, or were you really excited for Rob Liefeld's Captain America more?
Absolutely.
You know what?
Probably the single most ridiculous piece of art I've ever seen.
Oh my God, the shield!
It was a ridiculous piece of promo art, but the actual content of that book was actually a pretty.
He had like double Fs.
Yes,
it was the largest chest ever on a man.
Yes. He definitely got a great boob job before that run, but
he made the shield look like a Pringle chip.
Yes,
I mean,
but no, like for the most part, I really did enjoy that, and I actually enjoyed the Fighting America that he ended up doing later with the rest of his planned run. It for awesome because he was planning to do, there was supposed to be more and all the behind the scenes shenanigans with that, but I actually liked that Cap run. It's nothing special. And the Brubaker one blows it.
It's not Mark
completely
Waid
out
and
of the
Ron
water.
Guarding. Well, let's just admit that.
I thought it was better, but okay. But regardless, no, I didn't mind it. You know what? I really did enjoy the Fantastic Four run during Heroes Reborn. They had to do. I thought that the Iron Man was okay. During the original, but it was mostly because they were finally able to move on from Teen Tony and all the nonsense that had happened in Iron Man and Avengers for like the previous 2 years. I never read Avengers though. I just skipped that one.
Mm-hmm.
So
I mean, it was the right idea. Yeah.
Want to say thank you very much to Drew with Comics Elite. Obviously, he was on here a couple of weeks ago. You should definitely check out the Comics Elite YouTube channel. I can't believe I'm going to defend Wade, but one of the best things he's ever written was The Flash, The Return of Barry Allen. Great story. Everyone.
Thank you, Drew.
Okay, fine. And you know what? I will gladly admit that I have not read everything that when I find a writer that I hate and that I never read anything that I liked from, I don't go and seek out the rest of their bibliography to make sure that that's the case. So
Totally understandable.
After he sent the wreath of black flowers to the guy whose wife had just died, that reached a point to where I don't care what he ever did.
Well, I mean, I'm still just talking mid-90s when he was just writing comics. There was always you can track it. I mean, whichever company Mark Waid jumps to is the company that's going to shit. And when he moved over to DC in the mid-90s was fucking garbage. There was a handful.
I don't know if I 100% agree.
There was a handful of decent things out there, but for the most part, it was as bad as it is right now with them just flailing and trying to figure out what the hell to do.
I do want to say thank you very much to Drew with Comics Elite for supporting the channel. $4.99 super chat. Much appreciated, my friend. And we'll definitely have you back on the channel here soon. So I don't know. Was there something else to talk about besides Mark Waid with Heroes Reborn? Or was
he didn't even do it.
He didn't do any of that.
Well, what is it about? What is it about, though? That's what I don't get. I mean, I tried to look at some stuff up, but I just don't get. Okay, yeah, I still know what it's about. It's just
I
like
need
this,
to have
like I
another
said.
company take it over, right?
It's about all the heroes finding Jesus. I don't know.
I think it is out of this Avengers Phoenix Force tournament. Something's going to happen. They're going to reset the Marvel Universe with this big what if, and they're like, we've got Dr. Jugs and other characters.
Basically,
it's all of the bad writing of mid-90s comics that we're getting in 21st century comics, except for somehow worse, and none of the great art.
None of the veins.
Yes, none of the actual superhero art.
Well, this doesn't look. This new Heroes Reborn stuff doesn't look to be exactly like the stuff that was done years ago. I mean, we're looking at the amalgamation of different characters with what the preview showed. That I saw on Games Radar, and I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff. So I'll take a peek at it and see what they're doing. But I don't know. It's like what Kenneth Dowling is saying there. It's Retread City for the most part for me. But I have a special spot, I guess, in my heart for like combining ideas and stuff like that. So I love that image of seeing Dr. Doom as the Juggernaut and all that stuff with the preview art that we saw. So
we all realize that Juggernaut's head really isn't shaped like a bullet, right? It's just a helmet.
Yeah, it looks like that one really bad Spidey villain.
Yeah, Sin Eater.
No, the one that has the bullet for the.
I'm talking about when Sinister became Juggernaut. It's like, his head's not really shaped like underneath. There's a human head.
Right? Yeah. Ryan Otley did that, didn't he? He made his head that way.
It's just a boob on top of shoulders.
There's no nipple, Doc.
There might be.
Well, when he has a cowlick or something, maybe.
Yeah, he's wearing a bra. He's wearing a
nipple head.
And bra.
The Heroes Reborn was Image Comics taking Marvel characters and doing it in their own style. Well, I mean, and that's not going to happen this way, right?
It's okay. The original Heroes Reborn was essentially you had the creators that had turned the Spider franchises and the X franchises into just complete powerhouses. But as a result, the Avengers, the core heroes, Fantastic Four, they were all in the complete gutter. Nobody was buying them. Even because after like Walt Simonson left Thor, that went to hell. After Mark Grunwald left, ran out of ideas and just started making random shit up, like turning Captain America into NFL Super Pro and a werewolf.
That issue sells like mad.
I know. But my point is, it was all of these books were basically devoid of creativity. Nobody was buying them. So what did they do? They hired the guys that just that turned the X
screwed them
books.
over.
Well, yeah, they screwed them over, but they also turned the X books and the Spider books into powerhouses, and decided, hey, if they could do this with the X-Men and Spider-Man, they can do it with Captain America and Thor and the Avengers and the Fantastic Four. I mean, it's halfway decent logic.
Yeah, no, I have to. I'm gonna take Yule's hat and I'm gonna tip it to Doc because he managed to work in NFL Super Pro. I don't know how you got that one, in, brother, but that was
that's what it looked like, man.
Who is?
Well, that's what happens. That's what happens when the NFL gives Marvel like $10 million.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. That's right.
It was working then.
Marvel could use that $10 million to hire competent creators today.
Yeah,
but would they? That's the question.
You got to kind of tip your hat to them, but that was pretty creative to get some revenue.
So do you want to tip your cap to Marvel Comics, Pele, for being creative and recycling the Heroes Reborn name, but apparently not recycling any of the ideas or the spirit behind it that launched to begin with?
That's the problem. They like want to borrow from the past, but they don't fully do it. They just kind of go half-assed about it. It's, man, it's not a. I'm not surprised that everything in Marvel comes around. Whatever they've done before that has even a moderate amount of success, they're going to recycle it. But they always seem to leave out the parts that made that particular idea great in the first place. So
we think Heroes Reborn was a great idea?
Originally, I think it was
in theory,
okay.
Yeah.
In theory, originally, it could have been, in theory, it wasn't bad. It was a good seller at the time.
It still holds, all of those books still hold the record for the highest sales on any of their respective titles.
Avatar holds the record for second highest sales for a movie ever.
No, I'm talking about
exactly.
The
Heroes remembered.
The Heroes Reborn relaunches is still the highest selling Captain America #1, still the highest selling Avengers #1, still the highest selling Iron Man #1, and still the highest selling Fantastic Four #1. It's
Rob Liefeld will tell you that all day long.
Yeah,
but yeah, exactly. But I think the thing was that I think because it was kind of like it should have been maybe a soft reboot as opposed to a hard reboot. Maybe that was part of the problem. They wouldn't fully commit to it by basically letting you all but know they were putting them in a pocket universe. So you kind of knew on some level they were always coming back to the original to the original one. It was just, but it was a good idea in terms of trying to modernize the mythology. Like the examples always used about Ben Grimm not being a World War II pilot, but being a Gulf War pilot. I mean, it made sense there in that sense. It was just an execution issue. I mean, it's like, with the exception of Lee's Fantastic Four, which is the only one I stuck with, or only one that I read, like I said, the other ones you could just kind of like you could just see that it wasn't long for this world, but not based on sales. Like I was actually surprised that the sales numbers were what they were on all 4 titles. But I mean, yeah, it was a great idea in theory. Yeah, they just didn't execute it well.
One thing Heroes Reborn did was kind of brought Marvel into reality even more. They kind of always were that way, but the Fantastic Four always just hopped some fence and took a rocket, and it's like, what? There's no security at all, basically. Just that one guard in the foreground. Mm-hmm. But in Jim Lee's, they try to, have reasons for how they were able to go and get that thing done. And every iteration, they've been trying to like throw a little bit more of reality on that.
Yeah,
or make it a science experiment in a movie, and stuff like that.
Yeah, and it's that version of the Fantastic Four that inspired all the FF movies that we've seen. It was that version of it.
And this was kind of almost a precursor. This was kind of them tipping their hand about what they were going to do 5 years later with the Ultimate Universe.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But hey, just to clarify something, because I'm noticing it in the comments, there seems to be a little bit of confusion. Heroes Reborn and Marvel's 90s Heroes World debacle are not the same thing. Heroes World was them buying a distributor.
Right.
And this is their relaunch. So just to clarify for the comments.
So I do want to say thank you very much to Kenneth Dowling for the $5 super chat. In Spider-Man Miles Morales, they're doing Clone Wars Saga, or the Clone Saga, a 90s story that started at Big but had sour grapes. Again, Retread City all around. I don't know, Yules, as a retailer, is it just more Marvel as usual? They're just retreading ideas. The house of no ideas right now.
If you've created a character, if you have a fan that likes Miles Morales that's young, they don't know about this Clone Saga probably, so it's not a thing. As far as advertising, it's supposed to be for us, but of course we've already lived through the Clone Saga. Whether you liked it or not, it's probably not something you want to see again anyway. I don't think it's a good idea, and it totally feels... Yeah, you can do a story that has clones. You can even call it the Clone Saga. If it doesn't, what, is the Jackal going to be involved? It'll
turn out to be Norman Osborn
you could do this. Oh, well, if I can't beat Peter Parker, I'll beat this guy instead. But rinse and repeat, different character. Maybe they'll be like, hey, eventually we finally did get rid of Peter Parker. And you can ignore that Clone Saga because it never really existed. And now, unless you have like Marvel Unlimited. And now Miles Morales will take that over. I don't know. It could be very good. It probably won't be. And if it doesn't succeed, it'll be just like the other one, really.
and if you don't like this one, they go pick up Spider-Man Life Story because it's a nice condensed version of what the Clone Saga.
All right,
20 pages.
Zdarsky, right?
Yep.
Thank
Zdarsky.
you very much,
great job.
Kenneth Dowling for the $5 super chats. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. It's interesting. Like I said, it's just a rehashing of old storylines. Is there one in particular, like you're thinking of, Chris, that they need to rehash that hasn't been done to death that maybe they could go and get some money out of that they haven't cashed in on lately?
An event like the Reborn
Any of it. It's just got to have a big name associated with it.
No, man. I can't think of any of that off the top of my head right now.
I want Champions Messiah Complex.
Champions Messiah Complex?
Absolutely.
Well, if you're going to go that route, then maybe Inferno with, I don't know, Champions.
Iceman Inferno.
Namor Inferno.
Namor Inferno.
I like that.
Oh, they need to do
figures
another.
out a way to burn water, and they finally attack Atlantis. How do you like that?
Yeah. Well, they need to do another Mephisto. They need to do another Mephisto series since they've got Mephisto going to be front and center with WandaVision.
Yeah, that's the rumor, right? So
that's true. Yeah.
It's about time for something.
But the one thing I will say that's got me intrigued by Heroes Reborn, I am an Age of Apocalypse fan. I'm sorry, but I am. That's the one part that I'm waiting to see what they do with that. I thought Age of Apocalypse, in terms of that whole, we're changing up the line for a couple of months, was a really good execution in terms of 4 titles I could follow, storylines from beginning to end. It was real tight. I'm interested to see what they're going to do with that. That's the only thing that has me interested in Heroes Reborn. I adore Age of Apocalypse.
I want to see Fatal Attraction, where the leader pulls the gamma out of Hulk.
He hasn't done that already.
I don't know.
I have a feeling that might have. At least there was that Mark Waid story where he was going around and depowering Hulks. Remember that?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they depowered Hulk in the latest King in Black. I mean, he's kind of just walking around as he looks like all skinny and weak, and
But I actually like that issue.
It was interesting. It really was. It was kind of like, he was still strong, but he wasn't, he was just a shadow of what he used to be. But it's just weird that Joe Fixit is driving.
I do want to say, thank you very much to Everett Todd for the $5 super chat. How long till Marvel relaunches the Star, Epic, and New Universal labels? Come on, Doc. How long?
They already did New Universal with Warren Ellis. 15 years ago? Then
Salvador
they did.
Larroca.
Yeah, and then they did. Then they brought the Star Brand and Night Mask into the 616 with Hickman Avengers. So I don't know if they can really do a New Universe. They did Epic about 15 years ago as well, where they made it into what eventually got relaunched again as their Icon line, which was for all like the creator owned and weird experimental stuff. Star is the one that they'll probably try.
There are collections that are coming out of those, some of them at least.
Which one was Star? Remind me of Star.
Like Peter Parker and, well, maybe not Peter Parker.
No, Peter Parker.
Yeah, he got folded in.
Oh, he did, yeah. And they had like some wizard character and it was good stuff.
It was their version of Vertigo before Vertigo. It was where they did some creator-owned stuff.
Star was like
Epic.
for little kids.
Star was for kids. Epic was creator-owned.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Star
Yeah, you're right.
Okay. Yeah.
Star was
That's what
Muppet
Dread
Babies.
Star was and other things.
Muppet
I'm
Babies.
a fan of the New
Thundercats.
Universe stuff.
Muppet Babies on Star. That should have been Epic Muppet Babies.
Oh my god.
Muppet Babies Max.
Exactly. Epic is more like Max now, except Max, they own the characters.
Yeah.
Thank you very much to Everett Todd for supporting the channel. We do have another super chat. This one's from Brad Frederick. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Marvel Comics is in the issue #1 business. They gear up with variants and star creators for a huge #1 sale. And then #2 and beyond are not a priority. That is absolutely correct, Gervain. Is there merit to the strategy where you just want to load up on #1s? Who cares if the quality is good? You just want the speculators and people to get excited for whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean, they've taught us to basically, look, we're only doing this from issue 1 through 6. So, a lot of times it's just you have to sit there and go, okay, am I going to spend the, I guess, what is it, $5 now, the $30 on the first six issues, or wait for the $25 trade paperback? So, yeah, it's the idea of like having a sustained creator run where like you can kind of get into the book for the first 6 issues and then really enjoy the ride for like the next 18 months. That seems to be a lost art in comics. But yeah, this whole our #1 thing that's been going on in the industry for at least 20 years or something like that. It feels like it's just like it's getting a little tired now. It's like it's just getting a little tired. I'll keep my money.
If you ever wanted proof of accelerationism, all you have to do is look at relaunching in comics. It started in the 80s. Well, it started in the 50s whenever they started like relaunching when they
burn actually for all of it.
when they relaunched like Flash.
Sure.
Then you didn't have it again until the 80s with Post-Crisis. Then the 90s. Then the 2000s, it started happening more frequently. Now it's every like 6 months. We've reached like it's gone from 35 years between relaunches to like 35 days.
How long till they start naming the individual issues and just calling that a number one?
Oh yeah, that's every single issue.
Daredevil Turning Point number one, followed by Daredevil Tomorrow's End number one.
Yeah, that's the way it's going to be. It'll be Daredevil volume 364 number one, and then the next issue volume 365 number one.
Yeah, that's sad. It's
all they've done is just reverse the volume and the issue number thing, and I feel like this is just a way, like they've decided to get in bed with BCW to just sell more divider cards.
Heroes Reborn, afterwards, when they came back, Marvel would do a variant second cover. You know, kind of like making it a little bit more important to buy the second issue also. I really appreciated that. And it would only be two, like a main cover and a B cover. But yeah, you're right. I mean, this chat's right.
Exiles did
all
it.
Time now.
Yeah, I remember when Exiles came out. Issue number one just had one cover. Issue number two had two.
Exactly.
But then by issue 3, it was back to just one cover.
Yeah.
Did you see Eternals?
Oh, God.
I got the one I want.
God, talk about somebody trying to make fetch happen.
Yeah.
Nobody's Marvel. The Eternals are never going to happen. Stop trying to make it happen.
God, they try so hard too.
They put a good writer on it, but man, that comic sucked. That was rough.
That first issue, man, that was, I don't know. Some of it was nice, but
I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. It got me. I wasn't wholly invested in the characters necessarily, but it just wasn't. Oh, I have to reawaken the Eternals so that they know who they are, like Neil Gaiman did. It's at least getting into the story. It was atmospheric and kind of slow, but 3 events actually occurred in the book, so it's better than most paces.
Did they actually occur, or did they talk about them occurring?
Well, a death occurred, and then there's a mystery, so they go and investigate. You're right. You don't. There's. They fight. There's one awakening. That's it.
Oh, Yule's right. There was a very important event that happened in that first issue. Whenever their eternal Spidey sense went off, and it made them have to hold back explosive diarrhea from the pain of it, detecting a deviant and trying to go after it.
They went down the sewer because of that.
I literally didn't even realize the Eternals came out, and I'm pretty sure my store didn't even order it.
Yeah, it was such a stinker.
There were almost none on the shelf.
They sold out?
No, like there was normally my shop will have like 5 or 6 empty spots for a number 1 issue. There was like 1 missing, so they couldn't have got more than like 10 copies.
Yeah, it's really easy to sell out issues when you only order like 5.
That's true. Future state.
I was telling people, everybody's like, one guy was like, well, apparently it sold well. Yeah, we were arguing about this at the shop, and one guy was like, well, obviously it sold well. You're out of them. And I said, yeah, I ordered 10 copies. I said, and I only ordered 10 copies so I could get the 1 in 10 because it had this hot, cute chick on the front, and I knew that I could sell that for $20. That's the only reason. The Teen Titans cover. But
what? My shop didn't even have any of the variants. Like I literally don't think they ordered it. I think they forgot to order it.
I hate the Eternal. Kirby's a hack.
I do want to say thank you very much to Brad Frederick for supporting the channel. Much appreciated. And yes, number 1 issues are out of hand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I also
50 was too much.
Pele, what are your thoughts on what is Marvel Heroes Reborn going to be? Is it going to be like 4 new comics set in a separate pocket universe?
I think so. I think it's it's going to be the future state of Marvel. DC's future state. Marvelized, and it is what it is. It's just another, kind of side project. If it catches any traction in sales, then they'll move forward. If they don't, they'll act like it never existed. So, it's kind of like, it's just throwing something at the wall and see if it sticks. So, I can't blame them for that. They want to make money, they want to have sales, but I think that there are better ways to go after sales. So, it's not horrible, but at the same time, I don't think it's much different than some, a lot of their other schemes. So
let's be honest. Even Neil Gaiman and John Romita Jr., back when Romita was still doing Eternals in the mid 2000s, didn't really make anybody give a shit about the Eternals. And if Neil Gaiman, and let's be straight, I mean, the Eternals concept is right in his fucking wheelhouse. And if he can't make people give a damn about it, nobody can.
Yeah. I think that Virgin variant for J. Scott Campbell was like a 1 in 500. So,
not a bad price then.
If it's a 1 in 500, 350 is, not terrible. I still think it's, it's still kind of ludicrous unless you're just a huge fan of J. Scott Campbell. But, that retailer had to order a lot of copies to get that issue. So.
But somebody brought up like this thing of comparing it to the Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, look, when Guardians of the Galaxy came out, I thought that's when MCU, the franchise, was going to jump the shark, and I mean, they definitely defied all expectations. But I mean, even with their Guardians of the Galaxy, they did have a good book with was it the Abnetts and Paul Paletter?
Yep.
Dan Abnett. That was like a good 6 to 10 issue run that they had on Guardians of the Galaxy, which I enjoyed it and I was a fan of it. I just didn't think it was going to become a movie franchise. But with the Eternals, this almost seems like they're putting the cart before the horse, like anticipating that they have that kind of a Guardians of the Galaxy hit on their hands, and they're just putting the comic demand out before that. But when I saw like over 50 covers, I'm like, I like Eternals. I'm like, I'm not going to live and die by it, but it's like 50 covers for basically not even a C-list Kirby creation. It's like, really? Nah,
but
I think that's what it feels like.
But Gervain, they're gender fluid. They've been, they've got the little flag out and they're waving, their virtue. That's got to be worth something, right?
It's got to be worth something, man. It's got to be worth something.
Oh, God.
I mean,
just leave Cersei alone. That's all I ask.
I saw that and I felt like I was going to pass a kidney stone.
We all know it's worth something, not dollars, not sales, but it's something. we don't know what it is, but it is worth something. Nothing.
Yeah.
Goodwill.
Yeah.
Which has no value anywhere.
When I compare the Eternals to the Guardians of the Galaxy, Guardians has Charlie 27 in it or whatever its name is.
Yeah.
I don't even think about Groot or Rocket Raccoon or anything like that because
you got to think about
Guardians.
Yeah, you're going back there.
Sorry, Guardians is lame, and you can put any character in it, but it ain't the Guardians. It doesn't have that big-headed fool in it.
If I'm going to compare the Eternals to anything,
Juggernaut head.
it's the stuff that Kirby left on the cutting room floor when he did the Fourth World.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's fair.
Agree.
Yep.
That's all it is. He used the
Stupid DC.
It's just take of Middle Earth.
I mean, look, has anybody else read the original Eternals first series?
It's not very good.
I read it, and I'll tell you what. It is the worst Kirby series to read as far as actual story. Sitting there and reading it, it was sometimes painful to try to just keep going, plotting through that series.
What about Silver Star and stuff like that? Did you ever read Phantom Force?
Yeah.
Those were Kirby stuff late in life.
Yeah, but it's still better than Eternals. And
Destroyer Duck better than Eternals.
Yeah, it's like there is so much out there that Kirby wrote that is so much better than Eternals. I mean, his DC work was better, far better than Eternals.
More inspired.
Did you ever feel there was a time when Darkseid was not considered their A-list villain?
I know.
I mean, it just all of a sudden it kind of happened. I mean, there were solid stories with him, but
Well, that was there was a real push.
Thank Paul Levitz for that. Yeah.
There was a real push in the 80s. It started with the DC Legends and stuff like that, where he was just they finally figured out where the root of all evil was, and it was Darkseid. And after they declared that, he was the A-list villain.
Yeah.
And
thank Hanna-Barbera and Super Friends for that one. That's what you think for that.
Really, that's what it was?
That's what it was. It was Hanna-Barbera and Super Friends.
Now you can have this stupid character.
Yeah. You know what? But
he's called Darkseid. It's a natural.
Yeah, but he's Gervain's not wrong on that in a lot of ways, because it did familiarize the young, not like new readers that Super Friends did bring in with the character. They were familiar with him, and now they just got they see him in the comics as this complete psycho. And they're like, wow. Oh, the guy that was kind of a joke, he's a badass. This is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I love the villain that is Darkseid, because it's just the idea that, that he is the ultimate evil, and the heroes only ever face his avatars. Because if they actually ever faced real Darkseid, he would just destroy them instantly.
So you mean you didn't like Darkseid sitting there eating carrots off a cheese plate in Mr. Miracle?
Yeah, that was kind of stupid.
Yeah, also.
I do want to say thank you very much to Kenneth Dowling for the $5 super chat. Marvel, the House of No Ideas, and DC, where everything and nothing matters at the same time. 100% correct. How did we get here, Yule? When are we going to get new ideas? Why does nothing matter in DC? What happened? What did you do?
Well, I don't know. I think we could go to Tom King, take a look at his stories. Isn't
he responsible for WandaVision?
It just
him and Bendis.
Well, Bendis
and Steve Gerber.
God, there's
Eagle Heart.
No, you're right. I don't know. Where did we go? How did we get here? It's
right.
Look, I put out the comics every week, and I've noticed for a long time there's a lot of Batman titles, and it ain't stopping. And I could say that DC's the House of No Ideas. Also, it seems like sometimes there is, and they actually let creatives go off and do things that are a little weird. And maybe you don't dig Scott Snyder, but you got to admit it's something's happening, I guess. But I
just think it's funny that DC's like, we're going to think different, and we're going to bring equality and social justice and all this kind of stuff. And the number one selling thing from all the DC Future State stuff is this really hot chick with a great butt.
It's almost like comic readers' tastes have never changed.
There you go.
Well, I heard it. I was listening to a real interesting interview. I listen to NPR and stuff like that. And they were talking about how they were talking to, I think it was an Asian woman, and it was a black man interviewing her, African American. And they were saying how a lot of what they're writing is actually geared towards, white people.
Oh, yeah. It's white,
and it's not written for specifically white people, and you don't know.
Like hip hop.
Yeah, you can't help who your audience is, and if you're ignoring it all the time, it's not, your audience is going to be dissatisfied. And people in comics and also fans have to realize you have a certain style person that is a creator of comics usually, and those people have to realize there's a certain style of person that actually likes your comics.
Yeah,
probably
but they hate them at the same time. It's just like, we hate you, but give us our money.
Right?
Give us your money. It's like,
back in the day, I never knew what if a person was male or female. I mean, if a guy has a name like Mark, I assume it's a guy, but whatever.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they were black or white.
It didn't matter.
It didn't matter. I mean, it's just that's what I'm saying. I didn't know, and when I finally find out, it's a little bit of a shock or a surprise, just because I just never thought about it. And
some of my favorite Marvel issues, some of my favorite issues that have ever been written, were written by Louise Simonson. I mean, come on, it doesn't matter.
She is the go-to, though.
Weezy was awesome.
I can't think of a lot, but she's awesome.
The Marvel most mainstream comics is overeducated, wildly underskilled, middle class, white guilt-laden white people.
All right, guys, we're going to get back on track.
The same thing.
I appreciate everyone jumping on the high horse there, but we're actually here to talk about comic books and stuff that we haven't covered already for the last year. So thank you very much, Kenneth Dowling, for the $5 super chat. The House of No Ideas and Where Everything and Nothing Matters. And a special shout out to Yul Carter for sidelining this wonderful conversation.
I thought it was in on it.
It was over at NPR.
Out of control.
NPR bullcrap. All right, let's talk about Venom 200.
It was just the setup.
All right, Gervain, are Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman working the industry? They say they're off. They will never write Venom again after issue 200, which is obviously, I believe, also issue number 36, coming out in April. Is that because after Venom 200, it's no longer Venom, it's going to be King Venom or some other title?
That's a work.
Is he
I mean, when they give him enough money, they'll do it. I mean, I will read Venom, but it's like I congratulate Cates and Stegman on this wonderful run. They managed to get a whole event out of it. People seem to be enjoying the King and Black thing, but it's like, they'll be back. They'll be back. Never say never. That's an old tried and true saying. Yeah. That's a work. Yeah.
If there's money in it, they'll be back.
That's right.
They're not going to. The thing that people have to understand is they're not going to leave a well that is not dry.
That is a good point.
I mean, if there's still water to be able to be pumped out of that well, they're going to be pumping.
Even if it's just drips.
Yeah, even if it's like they've hit the bottom and there's mud coming up. They're still going to be getting that mud. So it's don't worry about that. They'll probably take a break for a while, but then
relaunch a new number one, right?
Yep.
Well, you got it
because it's prime opportunity.
It'll be
number one. Venom 200 will be $12, of course, because it's a milestone. But King Venom number one will also be $15 because it's also a milestone. They'll get it back to back.
And then on the 25th issue, they could celebrate the 225th issue.
No.
Or whatever it comes out to.
On 24 will be 225, and then 25, and then it'll be a double milestone. Yeah. That's what they do with Spider-Man.
I'm such a fool.
But they're going to have to take. But they are going to have to let it take a break.
Ones weekly.
They're going to have to let it take a break, cool off just a little bit, and then they're going to start hinting that Venom isn't really dead. And then you'll have the full comeback.
Really? You think they're going to cancel the series? It's literally their second highest selling ongoing.
I think that they'll take a break for a few months.
I think that would first of all be
very un-Marvel.
Stupid. Yes, I mean they got to find a way to milk this even more and taking their second high. Well, then again, I mean they decided that they were going to make Immortal Hulk end while issue 50 or whatever back in the 20s before it jumped the shark.
I know. Right?
And when it was the number one selling book in comics. So Marvel doing stupid shit isn't surprising. Now I am happy if Stegman's actually going to do a couple of issues of the regular Venom run again.
Yeah, man.
I mean, you know what though? I have really, really enjoyed.
Ivan Corello's been awesome.
Yeah, Ivan Corello. He's knocking it out of the friggin' park. He's an amazing substitute for Stegman. They're just similar enough, but just different enough that it doesn't feel like he's trying to ape him.
Venom 32 was awesome.
It's good.
I got one question because I don't read Venom, but how did they get to 200?
Oh, that's the Legacy
total.
Yeah,
Legacy variant, all the way from the original limited series.
Captain Marvel just hit 150.
the foil cover issue is number 1, and then you count every single thing that Venom has ever been in, practically, or just had his name on the cover, and it's
Well, the
Venom, City
part of Marvel's
Protector,
fake milestone initiative.
Protector of the something.
during when
Lethal Protector. I remember that.
Remember when CB first got hired and they did the Marvel Legacy where it reverted back to original numbering for a while.
Right.
It hit 150 during that.
Gotcha.
So, and it went up to 165 or something like that before it relaunched with Stegman. Because there was a number of Venom series. There was the Venom Lethal Protector. There was another one. There was the Venom book under the Tsunami line, which was also the one where you got Runaways and
Inhumans. They had an Inhumans one that was interesting.
Under
during
Tsunami?
I'll just end there. It was when the Inhumans were on the moon.
No, that was during Marvel Knights.
No, you're thinking of the Paul Jenkins Lee one. No, this is Sean McKeever and some other artist. They were in the Tsunami line, and they were sending their kids to Earth on like a school program, an exchange program.
Yeah.
It was very angsty, but if you enjoy that type of thing, it was very good, actually.
That was when Sean McKeever was actually a halfway competent writer. Because he did that Sentinel book that was pretty good during the
I think it was during that time also, yeah.
Yeah, it was during Tsunami as well.
If you guys want to have
the Tsunami hit.
brain fluid come out of your ears and your nose and maybe your eyes start to bleed, go read that stuff where Marvel tried to convince you their legacy numbering. Go read how they came up with the Hulk number.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no. I will not do
I'm going to vomit. This is...
Did they use variant covers also?
They were using one shot.
2000.
The Eternals is at 300. So
they were counting entire runs of stuff that didn't fit, but then they would discard other things that it was like, okay, there's no.
Hey, I got to get to that number somehow.
Yeah, they counted all of the issues of Incredible Hulk after issue 6 when it turned into, what was it?
Mm-hmm.
Tales of Suspense. Yeah.
Yeah,
but that's funny. That's an old tried and true Marvel thing, actually.
Yeah.
There, in the store, if someone was stealing back in the old days, we'd say, "Could you check on Hulk number 72 or something like that?" And he'd be like, "What? There ain't no such thing as Hulk 72." I better be looking out on the store.
Yeah, but so they were counting all that, but then they weren't counting other things. It was so confusing. The Thor one was just as bad.
That might have been the worst one.
Thor?
Yeah, because it had so many miniseries and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Why is this?
Yeah, it was bad. But no, I think that this Venom 200, I think that they're just full of shit about all of it. I don't think it's really a work.
That's the important.
Yeah, I don't think they're going anywhere. I hope Stegman's actually going to come back and do rotations.
One of the rumors I'm hearing is that they're going over to do the Avengers.
No, Hearing has way too much crap to still do.
You know what? That
would be good.
That would actually be a big improvement, and you'd end up with because let's be honest, the both Absolute Carnage and King in Black have been essentially kind of Venom Avengers team up mini series.
Mm-hmm.
He's basic every time it's like both of them were like his test run on the writing Avengers.
They're definitely mainstream them. There's no two ways about it. Yeah.
Who would you like to see Cates and Stegman move over to? Thinking about the writing styles, they work together, gotta have a gothic feel. I thought maybe Moon Knight would be good. I think Black Panther, if they wanted to explore the King of the Dead stuff. We know that Ta-Nehisi Coates' run is about to end. I think that would be good. Is there anything that you think that they would be the right creative team for?
Yeah, they can take a stab at Werewolf at Night because it ain't making it. So I've been trying to like Scott, but
Black Eyed Pea on it.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind seeing him on that. I like the idea of Werewolf at Night, but right now that team over there is just ain't making it.
They need to get a decent. They need to get a decent, well-known horror writer to take over that series, and it would be. I'm not talking about somebody. I'm not talking about like an A-lister. I'm talking about somebody that just writes decent horror. You know, kind of like, and just put them on it. And
Dean Koontz is out there still. He could do it.
There was who is it that wrote the Tomb of Dracula? Remember back around the late '90s, early 2000s, there was a short Tomb of Dracula run. With Blade.
Yeah.
And that was decent. That was actually a good read, and they need to dig up whoever that was that wrote that, and then put them on Werewolf by Night. I think it'd be pretty sweet.
Oh, that was Marv Wolfman.
That was Wolfman.
Okay. Came back.
Really?
Oh. Yes, it was.
You know who actually might be a good pick for Werewolf by Night? Frank Thierry. He
just doesn't like. No one's going. Oh, I gotta have that next Frank Thierry.
I know he's not a name, but he's a solid writer that gets you decent sales.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it'll be Werewolf by Night.
They didn't do very well. I know you. What do you want to see Donny Cates working on after Venom? Yeah.
I saw somebody say Spider-Man. I would dig that. I've been enjoying Spencer's Spider-Man, but
that's going to at least issue 100, so I think that one's off the table.
Okay, I can hear that. But still, Cates on Spider-Man, like that'd be the first time he actually wrote something. I'd be
like a Spider-Man Venom.
But you know,
the Stegman Spider-Man is awesome too. He makes them like really like physical.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he's done it.
He did Superior.
Yeah.
That idea of him doing like, you know, something smaller, like a Werewolf by Night does tickle me. Or someone said Moon Knight. Jermaine, you said that. That would be
someone
cool.
else said Ghost Rider.
Someone else said that. Everybody. Moon Knight would be cool. Personally, I'm really done with the schizophrenic and Jewish aspect of Moon Knight. It's been done to death like the last few times, and I would just like to see a dark superhero with a guy that changes, you know, characters for a while, and you know, just kind of be a little normal, but maybe the stories are a little bit more psychotic rather than he is.
Yeah.
Cates would be cool for that, and Stegman would draw the hell out of that. It would be like as hot as Moon Knight's ever really been, like since the Plats.
Do you think it would be a top 10 selling ongoing comic? Those
maybe. I mean, they
if they
have
actually
if they make it happen.
They put somebody caliber of Cates on Moon Knight, and then bring back Sienkiewicz to do the artwork for a 4-issue series. It would sell like you would not believe.
Yeah.
The last time it was because of Dave Finch.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Finch was really that was a strong one too. Sure.
Yeah. That sold.
They had a real writer on that, or a real novelist.
Yeah, they had. Well, it was a father-son novelist team.
Oh, really? See, I don't. That's what Swerzinski is. It's 2 people.
No, on the Finch one.
I thought it was Oh no, you're right. It was Charlie Houston, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was Charlie and his dad.
I think Swerzinski comes up afterwards. That's why I was a little confused there.
He followed Dwayne Swizzlesticks. He was always the guy that followed up the good guy, because he took over Immortal Iron Fist after Fraction.
He did, yeah.
After Brubaker, he took over X-Force after Yost and Kyle. He took over Moon Knight after Charlie and the Hustons, and he took over something else too after somebody else good. So he was always
the Frank Thierry of the day.
Yes, he was.
Always the bridesmaid, right? Never the bride.
Yeah. Or the Colin Bunn. Maybe y'all might know him. He's the guy that finishes it off.
You mean other Jerry Duggan?
Other Jerry Duggan. Oh. Damn.
They're the same person. I don't believe.
I've never seen them in the room together.
Bunn was around before Duggan was, though.
Who was?
Jerry Duggan. Cullen Bunn was around before Jerry Duggan, though.
Well, Duggan got post-saned in. You know, they did that like last Christmas for Image quite a few years ago now. And then they did the Deadpool together, and then it was Duggan all day.
Yeah.
No, it just seems to me like whatever Cates and Stegman do it's going to be based on whatever the next big Marvel MCU thing is, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever they're pushing, they could go to Doctor Strange.
Cates has done Strange, and there is going to be a Moon Knight television show.
And then there's going to be a Blade movie.
Ooh, see him on Blade would be sweet too.
You know,
probably.
So, you know, I don't know. Whatever. I don't know. That's quite the quandary. I don't see them doing this event stuff, and then this Clone Saga junk or the Heroes Reborn 2021 stuff. I don't know. I'll be interested to see what they go and do next. I've been a Cates fan for a long time, but I mean, I haven't really followed a lot of the recent stuff just because of various things. But I remember I liked Cates back in the day when he was at Dark Horse doing Buzzkill and
Paybacks.
And Paybacks. I love Paybacks.
Yeah, Paybacks is sweet.
Yeah, man. You know,
it's about what a repossession. They repossess like superheroes that are in rears.
Yep.
And they like take their equipment back from them, and they have to be. These are superheroes that were down on their luck, and now they're repo men.
That's
exactly.
harsh.
Yeah, it was great, man. And then all the homages to.
Oh man, they could do that with the Thinker. No, not the Thinker. Who's the guy that makes all the Spider-Man?
The Tinkerer.
The Tinkerer. Thank you.
Tinkerer.
The Tinkerer. They could just do paybacks with the Tinkerer. At Marvel, I mean, it would be more like Deadly Foes of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Well,
but a lot of people like that.
Talking about. Oh, go ahead.
That's kind of like half of the plot from Chip Zdarsky's Peter Parker Spider-Man mixed with the whole plot. The whole plot of the Nick Fury's Secret War back in the mid 2000s that introduced Quake, where it had all the it had Spider-Man and Wolverine and Luke Cage and Daredevil all going over to Latveria because they find out Doom is actually funding all of these D-list street level villains.
Mm-hmm. I think that
I didn't read that, but I love that.
with Moon Knight and Werewolf by Night and Blade and all all of them coming back, just put them all under the banner of the Midnight Suns and relaunch that.
There you go.
Because but just change the lineup from the original Midnight Suns and maybe throw Morbius in there with it, and just have that, and they could have that versus the Legion of Monsters.
Oh, what if they did? What if they did go to a Midnight Suns series? That would.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It would sell. That would actually be pretty exciting. I'd be excited for that because I really liked the '90s Midnight Suns and Ghost Rider and all that. But he's a little overpowered for that now. But just take the street level heroes and and just let them have a series for a while.
Well, they did. It was called Marvel Knights.
I know, but I'm talking about relaunching, and have all the occult characters, occult characters,
And they could do.
Well, that's Johnny Cates' specialty, right?
Yeah. A little imprint inside Marvel Universe, with the little Midnight Suns banner up in the corner, the same way they did back in the '90s, whenever it was Ghost Rider, Blade.
Johnny Blaze.
That's the Johnny Blaze.
Morbius.
Yeah, Morbius, and there was a couple other that they also stuck that because they tried to. I think they tried doing a Werewolf by Night. There was a bunch of them that all had that little logo up in the top corner. Do that again.
Yeah, well, I mean, that would be pretty sweet.
Well, who should after Venom 200? Who should come on to Venom?
Cullen Bunn. We said that already.
Oh no! Come on.
Zdarsky?
No, Dwayne Swizzlesticks.
Mm-mm.
Oh
Venom.
no,
These guys are
we want it to
always
sell. We want it to be decent, man. Not
Well, they've had that McLeod guy working. I do want to say we do have Comic Quirks. Jimmy from there, he's been on the channel a lot. The comic book Teddy Bear. He could use some prayers and thoughts and good vibes himself. He's got some stuff he's dealing with. So if you could send some stuff,
man.
some of the good juju you sent my way for my son the last couple of days over to Jimmy, I would really appreciate that.
Best of luck, Jimmy. I don't know what's going on, but I hope everything passes, dude.
Yeah. So didn't mean to derail too much. So Venom 200 is going to be the end of Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman on Venom, but we do think they're probably lying. They're just going to rename the series and relaunch it.
Yeah.
With
It's the end, but not.
Yes.
So
With
It's
Vida
over.
Ayala and
Oh, that's a good
Erica Henderson.
There you go.
Oh
And-
God.
and with backup stories written by Danny Moore.
Oh.
Thank you,
I
Doc.
had an
Yeah.
aneurysm. I just had an aneurysm. God.
So are we ready to move on past Venom 200? Ready to talk about some
Please.
DC comics?
DC.
Yeah, let's talk about DCeased and the Dead Planet finale. I know, Pele, you are a big fan. I personally loved it. There will be a full wrap-up of the entire Dead Planet series on Monday. I believe Perch is going to be joining me. What did you think about the finale? Did it live up to everything that you expected?
Yeah. There was a couple of loose ends that didn't get tied up, but I think that they're intentionally untied because that's going to be where they head into it. The sun setting in the background was kind of really big, obvious, and ominous. I figured the hero of the story turned out to be who I thought the hero of the story would be, and boy, did he do a job. So, I guess that's his redemption now, Constantine's redemption. But huge spoilers, by the way, if you've not read it. But yeah, I mean, it was thought it was pretty cool. He went around and stealing all the major artifacts, just so he could take on Tygon. But and he held his own for about 5 panels, and it was pretty good. I really enjoyed it. I loved it. I thought that he did it with class. I think that Tom Taylor wrote it with class, but also, he took some people out, and he didn't hesitate to do it, and that's what that type of series needs,
So what did you think about that Superman panel? We never get to see Superman look completely awesome, but when Constantine falls, Trigon's still there, and Superman stands up to him. Like, it was one of the best Superman panels I've seen in a couple years.
Yeah. I mean, he decks him. I mean, he really, really comes out, and it's not, he's able to keep him distracted just long enough for Constantine to deliver the coup de grace. So, like the mortal man stands up to the immortal god for one last time.
Yeah, very well narrated.
Yeah. So it was great. I really enjoyed the series. I'm glad they're going to continue with it because they can't just leave Superman in the middle of the sun. And then dead Superman in the middle of the sun. So, it's going to be hell to pay when he gets out because, he's going to have power like nobody's business. So it's going to be like the
left
Superman
a little
1
loophole
million.
to where he might be saved, I guess, right?
Could
Not
be.
to have a cure.
Yeah, could be. But I don't think he will be. I think he'll just be, he's going to drain the sun dry and come out and just wreck people. But and it'll end up having to be him versus his own son. But
That would be interesting. Certainly, we're going to be getting more DCeased universe. At least I'm hoping for it. Chris, did you read the finale of DCeased? What did you think?
Yeah, I loved it, man. I liked it. I liked the entire series. There was so many. This series. I can't remember the last time I read a series that had just so many moments, that were just powerful, emotional, intense, all throughout. I've never felt scared of Plastic Man. Then when I get back in issue 3 or 4 of that, it's like, what the? I really enjoyed this, and I hope they continue it with at least the same creative team. I've been a fan of Trevor Hairsine since way back from Class War years ago when he first started out. I've always liked his art. I think this is Tom Taylor that wrote this, if I'm not mistaken. This was good. This was solid, and I want more of this. And yeah, let's bring it on.
So thank you very much to Kenneth Allen for the $5 super chat. Dead Planet was very good. If he brings that level of his game to Batman in April, I'll be very pleased. Obviously, he's working on Batman: The Dark Knight as well as Nightwing moving forward. The Dark Knight's a miniseries, but I don't know. Yule, is Tom Taylor a DC guy now?
Yeah, I guess his best success has been with his DC property. I mean, as far as I don't read what if type books or Elseworlds if I can help it, because it doesn't count. I got all this other crap I'm reading. It does count. I mean, everything matters. What am I saying? But hearing every time I come in and I hear you guys talking about it, it does excite me. What doesn't excite me is anything I've read from his Marvel work.
It's all about editorial. It's all about editorial with him. Because if he has an editor on his ass, that pulls the reins and keeps him in check, he seems to do a great job.
Well, you also don't need to as much in an Elseworlds type story. You can't get away with murder.
He didn't. He didn't interject his politics into DCeased.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, there's so much cool things I can do with anybody. There's so little time for that. Maybe. But maybe DC has the reins on him when it comes to that. Maybe he has more respect for the characters. It seems like he treats them with a lot more care, even when he's dismantling them.
Well, even than the other DC writers, you see, like the way Tom King treated Captain Atom. Like the same week, there was an issue in DCeased, last year. And the Tom King Captain Atom gets his butt handed to him. You would think he was the weakest character in the history of the world. And you go over to DCeased, and he's like a world-ending event.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm.
He literally destroyed the Wildstorm universe.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Captain Atom is pretty tough.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely if he's unchecked. But
not when he's against Gotham Girl, apparently.
Yes.
DC has, Gotham Girl, please.
That girl, oh my God, that girl.
Why would you need Batman and Gotham if you have Gotham Girl and she could beat up Superman with her pinky?
I know, it's so painful.
But you don't like to read Elseworlds. You weren't reading those Tales from the Dark Multiverse titles?
I read a few of them. They're cool. But no, I just, if the story, you hang out in comic stores, you own a comic store, you work in comic stores, you're gonna see a lot of people that love what ifs, and then sometimes that's their favorite thing. I personally don't care if Gwen Stacy lived, she died, and if she was gonna live, she would have, and I've read those books, they're cool. Elseworlds, I read Gotham by Gaslight, but you can only put Batman in so many things before I don't care anymore.
Well, the thing is about the what ifs is if they really do well, then they just kind of port it over to the main universe.
That is true.
Yeah,
they did that with What If number 105, first appearance of Spider Girl. It's kind of like
sure.
Stuff like that.
That's true. You're right.
I think that's the problem with both of the big two at this point. They're basically all just nothing but giant what ifs.
All right, so
that's literally DC's new publishing editorial strategy now, right?
DC changed Jay Garrick to Barry Allen and Allen whatever to Hal Jordan, and they actually made the cut. They did it. I mean, they didn't do it with Batman, with the Trinity, but they did it with the other characters, and they are too scared to do that going forward ever again. And Marvel will never do it. They would rather retcon something so that Ben Grimm was in Desert Storm rather than, just keep the storyline going on. And
but they did it in the Flash with Wally West. They just didn't leave it alone.
Well, they did.
Even Kyle Rayner to a
For a
certain
long
extent.
time, it felt natural that way.
Yep.
But I don't think now it's just put them in some other setting, and you'll have the illusion that something's actually happening to your favorite character, that they're actually growing, potentially dying. But in real life, you go back and Batman's still sitting there. There is no new Hal Jordan. There is no Barry Allen. It's always going to just be some extra character thrown into the family book, and it's really no different. Did you create a character when you created Venom, Todd, or are you just stealing from the black suit? Not to be. That's a little tangent. Sorry. Done.
Trashing Todd McFarlane on Thinking Critical. That doesn't happen very
often the debate. Did the writer, did the artist, did Shin Shooter, did Mike Zeck, who created this character?
Thank you very much to Kenneth Alley for supporting the channel. Really appreciate it. But yeah, I really enjoyed Dead Planet. Has anyone heard anything about Marvel Dark Ages? Is that event still going to happen? The one where Tom Taylor and there's some type of...
I thought that it got canceled.
That's the coolest thing it sounded like Marvel was going to be doing. Ugh.
It looked almost like Marvel death metal.
Yeah.
That kind of scared me,
Well, yeah, but I don't think they were ready to go that big. But, Iron Man was flying. He got hit with an EMP or something. He landed. He didn't have an arm. I said, oh, man, this looks pretty good. The whole world's dark. But, Tom Taylor's supposed to be right now, and I thought maybe he would bring some of his DCeased magic over to Marvel Comics, but we have not heard about that because it was supposed to have already started by now.
Well, they already had Marvel Zombies, so I don't know if if Tom Taylor, maybe he could take over Marvel Zombies, take over the 405 or whatever.
Philip Kennedy Johnson was right now, and obviously he's the new Superman writer. So I don't know. Anyone have any last thoughts on DCeased before we move on to the next topic?
Tom Taylor.
Great. Well, that and read it.
That way.
Wait, Doc, you didn't read DCeased at all?
No, I after everything of Tom Taylor's that I've read, I said I will never give money to this man again. And I don't care how good DCeased turned out to be. I'm happy for those that liked it. I will just never support him financially again.
It was a complete accident that I got on it because it was one of my manager, my manager at the shop kept going, dude, you need to read this. I'm like, it's Tom Taylor. I don't like Tom Taylor. He is an asshole. And he's like, no, but this is really, really, really good. And so I was like, okay, fine, just to get him off my ass. I was like, okay, fine, dude, I'll read them. And I read the first 3 issues, and I was like, wow, okay, this is really good. And since then it was just like, okay, I don't like Tom Taylor. I don't like his other stuff, but he does zombies well. So I'm just going to keep reading. I'm going to keep reading his zombie books.
I'll help Doc out. Doc, just read DCeased, A Good Day to Die. It's 1 issue, but it's good. It's 1 issue, but it's good.
There aren't enough good comics out there for me to just be skipping them unless somebody's done something truly awful. I don't think X-Men Red was that bad.
I do.
Oh, Lord.
I didn't like that at all. And I don't get all bent out of shape.
No, I didn't like it at all either, but I didn't think it was a permanent strike on his record.
I do.
There's
no strike for that one. Just don't touch X-Men again, please.
All right, let's go to Yule's favorite topic. We've got a new generation of Marvel What Ifs coming in. First up is going to be Chip Zdarsky on Spider-Man Spider Shadow. Redundant use of the word spider, but besides that, we are going to get What If Peter Parker became Venom. Doc, how excited are you for this new era of What If? There's no What If on the title, but this is their new version of that where it's going to be a 4-part miniseries. Are you going to read it?
Unlikely. I liked the original What If series. It was a good little novelty series. But nothing. But the last couple of attempts at reviving What If as events, I don't like. You're sticking too much of it in a short period of time. What If works well as one little offshoot of some story that was going on from a couple of years ago, and what if it went a little different? There was a little bit of novelty to that. Now this is, it's like they just ran out of concepts, and especially since the fact that their current universe is basically a giant what if anyway. That they've, all the magic of what if is long gone. And I don't think any of this doesn't seem any different, as this could be in continuity or out of continuity, and it would make just as much sense.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, DC with Elseworlds, that's what milked whatever novelty out of it. Like once that just became a regular thing. I mean, it's produced some great, DC animated films for him going direct to video. But it was like, Doc is right. It's like when the original What If series came out, it was just that one series. It was a novelty. It was unique. It was its own little thing. I think it was the mid-'90s revival, because it's one of my favorite What If issues was What If Daredevil Killed the Kingpin, which featured a very early Grey Capullo. And I mean, that was a little bit of an inspired run, but I think really it was DC with Elseworlds that just basically, just ran that sort of novel idea of re-examining the story into the ground, Yeah. So, I mean, I'll do it for 4 issues. I mean, I'm looking forward. I'm glad that it's just 4 issues and not an ongoing. So I'm looking forward to that.
Beyond Spider-Man.
Yeah. And someone said they liked Life Story. That was basically a what if also.
Oh, yeah. I love Life Story. Yeah. I thought
Peter
it was great.
Parker aged in real time.
I mean, I'll probably read it. As much as I've said I didn't like, What If in Elseworlds,
You're a
probably
complicated manual. You just trashed the entire concept. Now you're embracing it.
Well, I mean, good creators on it, you can't ignore it. I mean, I'll at least get the first issue personally, but I think it will do well. And I mean, it's something that I'll try and push to people that are into Spider-Man for sure.
Yeah, what do you think, Chris? Oh, I'm sorry, Doc. What do you say?
We already have the symbiote Spider-Man semi-ongoing book. How is this?
That's supposed to be in continuity. Those are new tales.
I understand that, but how is this really any different?
Because he's going to become Venom. He's going to
find out.
Right?
Peter will be talking to the symbiote.
Yay! I guess.
Hey, how's it going? Can you let me sleep tonight? I've been tired.
Yeah, like I don't understand what function this book serves with how
so there's a number 1 associated with it.
Well, okay, fine. they could put out Bob the Janitor number 1 too. I mean, or maybe what the hell was the name of the fucking what was the mailman from Fantastic Four?
Forbush, not Forbush.
No,
Willie Lumpkin.
Yeah, Willie Lumpkin number 1. Why not?
Don't give CB any more ideas, Doc.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So wait, is this What If series? Is it like 4 different stories, or is it just one story about Peter Parker?
It's a 4-part miniseries of What If Spider-Man became Venom.
Oh, okay then. Yeah, okay. I'll go with Doc on that one. Yeah.
You're poisoning the panel, Doc. I do want to say thank you very much to Kenneth Allen for the $5 super chat. Are any of you planning on watching the What If show on Disney Plus? That's the Marvel show I'm most interested in. I do not have Disney Plus. It is not available here in the Philippines. Is anyone going to be watching that? Doc, you're a Marvel head.
Yeah, I'm not really terribly interested in it. They could have done a number of different ideas for an animated. I mean, if they were going to do like an animated show set in the MCU, there's a lot of other things that I think would have worked a lot better than What If.
What are your thoughts, Chris? You excited for it?
I am totally not poisoned by Doc.
Oh.
Okay.
Thank goodness.
I'm
bringing the whole panel down.
Like I mentioned earlier, I'm a sucker for amalgam type stuff. I like What If stuff. I'll be checking out the Spider-Man What If, because that's an actual What If to me that really kind of makes sense. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes there's just not a continuity that where you can see it could actually stray to that What If. But with this, I mean, there's the whole background there where Peter Parker could have very easily been the Lethal Protector instead of being the Spider-Man. that we've all come to know him as and love. And so I'll check it out. You know, it could be a huge bomb. It could be really cool. And the Disney What If too, I'll check that out as well. Like I said, I'm a sucker for that. I like those type of stories. So yeah, I'll definitely be checking those out.
And what ifs work best when they're one and done. That's how what if works. It's one and done. You tell the story, get in, get out.
Yeah, take advantage.
It's bad.
Yeah, take advantage of that, of having that time to tell whatever story it is you're wanting to tell, and exactly like what he said, just in and out, just tell it, do it the best you can, and then we're moving on. You know.
Will they do what ifs from all the movie stuff, or are they actually building it off the comic books?
It's the movies, it looks like.
Okay, so there's going to be a Black Panther one, right? Or Chadwick Boseman's going to be in some of it.
Actually,
I think there is one Black Panther.
Question.
So there's the Miracle one as well. And
with
Iron Man.
I wonder what they'll be doing with that. I'm
Captain
curious.
America killed Iron Man. That would be great.
They could do that, yeah.
You know what? I know that there is a Chadwick Boseman what if with Black Panther, because they've talked about how he did the voice acting for it and everything before he passed. So I don't know whether or not it's I don't know. Here's the thing though.
If it's all in suit, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, yeah, but you still
If they have
need
to do it
voice
that way.
acting. I mean, to some degree. But the thing that I'm a little confused about with when it comes to like the Disney Plus series, there's not enough substance in the MCU to really get a bunch of what if stories out there. What if as a comic series in the 80s and 90s worked because you had 25 to almost 35 years of continuity, and sometimes even longer in the case of like, you know, Namor and Captain America and the original Human Torch to play with when it came to alternate outcomes. That was the whole point of it. It was alternate outcomes to significant Marvel moments and what the fallout would be. That was the novelty of it. You don't have a lot of significant Marvel moments in the MCU to find alternate outcomes from.
It'll just be little tweaks.
I know, but there's not enough content there already. There was, you had probably 50, 100,000 different individual books to have an alternate outcome from, to choose from which ones you were going to pick from in the comics.
Doc, you don't need all that. You don't need all that.
What if Peggy Carter became Captain America?
Yeah, all you need is a moment where it could just turned on a dime. That's all you need.
Like, what if Black Widow doesn't sacrifice her life and it's Hawkeye instead, right?
What if she tossed Hawkeye?
Yeah.
To get the.
Yeah, you don't. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but you don't necessarily need all that continuity in history just to take a moment and then diverge from that and tell the what if story.
Yeah, but the thing that made the what if stories great is the fact that they were important moments. You can pick any moment and make a what if story, but it has to actually have substance to it. It has to be something that stuck with the reader or the watcher, and there's just not a lot of those in the MCU.
Yeah, but I'm gonna go, Eric, because even with the Black Panther one, even if they were to do like, what if Killmonger remained a Black Panther? There's something to come out of that story. I mean, it just is. There is something where Killmonger takes his world vision and actually carries it out. I'm there for that one. Even with the Captain Peggy Carter, I've seen that character other places. It just looks cool as a character to me. I think there's enough there that if they're trying to get like 10 episodes out of this particular series, I think there's enough out of the 10 years of MCU to get those kind of stories. But like, what if Killmonger carried out, continue to be Black Panther? There's definitely a story there. It's definitely a story there.
Yeah.
What if Scarlet Witch died instead of Quicksilver? So we do have a question from the viewers, Jervain. Comics Work, Jimmy wants to know, do you have to deal with Doc all the time?
I love Doc. What the when I saw the lineup for the panel this morning, I was like, okay, I'm in heaven now. Because see, these guys, I always look good standing next to these guys. See,
look so bad.
Doc and Pele, everybody looks good now.
Yeah, exactly.
So Doc,
everybody looked good by comparison.
Oh, thank God you guys are on screen. I look good now.
Oh God.
but Doc is great. I have to deal with Doc all the time, but I love dealing with Doc. Doc, Pele. I'm glad Yule's back. I haven't been on with Yule in a while. Yeah. It's like, yeah, Doc keeps you honest. See, that's the thing with Doc. He'll keep you honest. He actually got in my head about George Perez for about a week, and then I came back to my senses.
Wait, what did he say? Well, you don't like George Perez?
No, I like George Perez, except for his big.
He said he was stiff. He said he was stiff. I had to actually go back into my collection and look at a bunch of old George Perez stuff. Say, well, what is he talking about? He ain't stiff. But he had me for a minute there.
He's later on, he loosens up.
He's stiff. Yeah, I mean, he is stiff.
When you get older, you loosen up as an artist, I hear. But you can't see as fine. And he's so detail oriented.
Yeah.
He's never, he's not Kirby, but
no,
few are.
Yep.
But
I know what Doc is talking about because I had to go to a DC Comics Presents one. It was the one where Superman teamed up with OMAC, so I can see where Doc is talking about it there. In particular, and I think sometimes it feels like it's the inker he's working with that makes him look stiff at times. But I was like, but yeah, Doc got in my head for a minute. But that's why I like Doc. Him and Pele, they keep me honest.
But then you get Wonder Woman 1 through 7 of his series.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, that's just gorgeous. It's like holy crap.
I think George Perez getting stiff a lot has to do with whenever he's really trying to stick too many people in a panel.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
I know that's where you're going with that, buddy. Way to keep it PG, Don. Thank you very much to Comic Perks. Really appreciate the support, and definitely our thoughts are with you today, brother. Hopefully everything went well. Let's move on to the next topic. What do we got? Oh, we got to talk about Future State. Anybody read Future State this week?
Do we really have to talk about this?
Well, yeah. I mean, there was.
I read.
Catwoman.
I might be behind.
What have you read? Yule?
I've read the Superman books.
War of Worlds.
I read that one. I read
What'd you think about
Metropolis. I didn't hate it. I know a lot of people didn't like it because there wasn't very much Superman. The thing I'm seeing with Future State is these are all the stories that were going to be the new version of DC, right? Mm-hmm. And a lot of the splits feel like this is something that would have been one issue in a monthly series, and we're not getting like the full issue. So in Superman, the Worlds at War or whatever, we're only getting like the first part of that issue. It was, and then we would have gotten a big, thick first issue if that was coming out normally.
That Worlds of War story would be perfect as like an issue 9 after like a couple of climactic battles, and you wanted to revisit all the stuff that just happened. Let everybody have a breath before you move on to the adventure. But as the opener, it's like.
Well, all their stories are just get you moving, and we're not going to really, put too much pretense in. And
that's what I'm saying. The Batman stuff, they do that a lot. You jump right in there. They're stealing a train. You jump right in there. Mm-hmm. Robin's got to steal some drug that's going to power up the cybers. Mm-hmm. Then it works. But when you get to that Superman stuff and you get all this like setup, it's like you don't have enough time. You need to hit the accelerator, bro.
It was a little slow. I agree. What I really liked was that Midnighter story in the back. That was super violent, and I like the Wonder Woman stuff. Superman, Wonder Woman. I thought that was pretty okay. I like the art; it was different.
She was so ugly in that book.
Yeah, I like when she's shoving that dude's face in the seat of the helicopter. Find some change, jerk.
Smoking hot.
Yeah, well. I don't think it was that bad, and I liked it in Wonder Woman even more. The Joel Jones stuff.
Yes, that one was great.
Yeah. I kind of like the characters. DC has been a little tired, or with everything always being Batman and so on and so forth. Seeing these new characters, even if I'm not invested in them, I felt like, for the most part, I'm okay with this. And if it would have been the New Initiative, I don't think it would have been as bad as, previously thought maybe. But Future State's just a time killer, really, is what it feels like.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's them producing a bunch of free comic book day preview books and charging you $8 for them.
It's only two of the comics for $8. It's Superman and the next Batman. Jervain, I know you were the most excited person I knew about Yara for. Did she meet your expectations?
You know what? So I'm gonna have to disagree with us a little bit. I thought I enjoyed the art on it. I enjoyed the writing. I thought the Wonder Woman with the Yara Floor, I thought it dragged towards the second issue of the book. It felt like Noelle was writing it, it felt like it was right. It's like she's writing it like again to trade. So in other words, you're going to collect the two issues at some point and put them together. And that, I think the whole bit with the airport scene, like them checking into the underworld, just went a little too long. But I think it's showing a lot of promise. I like the look of the character. That's the big thing. And I like her characterization so far. And I think she has a lot of promise. To me, she feels like they're going to spin her off out of Future State, unlike a lot of the rest of the other books that I'm seeing. I mean, I've only read that one. I bought Robin Eternal yet. I think I'm going to get one more. But my only real issue with Future State at this point so far was just that I wanted to get the next Batman book, but that $7.99 cover price, man, I wasn't going to make it on that one. I like Nick Darrington and all that. I really want to support him.
He's not the artist on the second issue. What the hell?
Yeah, I can't.
That was upsetting also.
Yeah.
Yeah, the art not even being the same. I was like, what the hell? He's the layout artist, but not the finisher.
Yeah.
Yep.
Chris, did you read any Future State, or you just checked out on that one?
I read a few. I read the Shazam and I read the Nightwing.
I like Nightwing.
Last week. I didn't. No, I mean a bunch of it I just didn't read, man. I just to be honest with you. It's just.
What do you think of Shazam? Do you like the evil Shazam? Is it played out?
Isn't it? I mean, why we gotta make Billy Batson, dark like that? That's like.
At least he's older. I did like that.
It kind of ruined the whole thing,
Yeah, and to me it did. The idea of taking him and making him the opposite of what he's, to me, of what he's always been. That's not ingenious. That's not.
Wally West in his ass.
Yeah. Why does that's a character that does not need a darker side?
Right.
Well, they just did it with the Secret Six or whatever, when he was one of the infected.
The darker side of Billy Batson is Black Adam. I mean, it's already exists.
He's already there.
Exactly.
Well, but they've gone so far to make Black Adam just like a misunderstood leader of a country that he's not quite so. He's not Vandal Savage. Yeah. So I think he's not the exact opposite of Shazam anymore, Billy Batson.
But that's the problem with that approach all the time. It's like, it feels like, again, it's like a lot of things happen in comics. It's like you have something like what Claremont did with Magneto, where you give him a motivation. But the thing with a villain is that he can have a motivation that's sympathetic, but he still gets the response wrong. That's the whole great thing about a villain. It's like you can understand why Black Adam is doing what he's doing. It's like, bro, but you didn't have to go about it like that. But that's what makes it great is that when he's doing it, you're always like, dang, yeah, go for it, bro. It's like, so, it just wasn't.
Black Adam is the DC version of Doctor Doom. I mean, and he's. And
they've been doing that with Doctor Doom recently, even more.
They do it better because you still are like, oh, he's still evil. He's still a horrible human being, even though he can justify. He can justify himself. He can justify his actions, but he can never truly, paint them as being anything other than just necessary evil.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because a great villain is always blind. That's the thing that a lot of writers don't. So that's why there's always this tendency to make a villain into an anti-hero. And it's like, even when you take somebody like the Punisher, it's like the dude is, he's got a point. He's right. It's just his answer to the world's problems is just so problematic that basically, I mean, the Punisher is the great thing of an anti-hero because he just goes after criminals. That at the end of the day, that's what makes him different than, say, a Black Adam or Doom. But like when you start trying to turn Doom into a sympathetic hero, it's just you're missing the point. The point is that he doesn't have the empathy or compassion or even the control that, say, a Reed Richards does. That's the difference between the two of them. Reed Richards, if he went that way, he could become Dr. Doom any way he does it. But that's what makes Reed Richards and a hero, is that he won't go there. And so
That's
I
why
think
he's
it's okay for villains to be villains. It's just that's what it is. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's okay.
Reed
for
Richards has done a few things.
Yo,
I
that's
do
true.
want to say,
But see, again, muddle in the water.
Yeah.
I do want to say thank you from Drew with Comics Elite for supporting the channel. Dark Detective #1 has been the high bar so far. I still don't believe Mariko wrote it. I think you got a point, because that was a pretty damn good comic book. I was shocked. It was probably the fourth best one I've read so far. I still think Swamp Thing's #1, Catwoman's #2.
I love the art on Catwoman. Otto Schmidt's amazing.
Yeah.
I like that guy a lot.
Then probably Wonder Woman, and then Dark Detective for me. I think they've all been
Green Lantern was okay. It was, again, another, hey, you're just jumping right into this situation. And
it's not really a Green Lantern comic.
It sure isn't. No, it's not.
It's just like it's a fun space adventure, which I enjoyed.
Yeah.
But I don't know. What do you think Mariko Tamaki wrote that? Or is DC funning us?
Mariko writes good things from time to time. Even in the superhero genre, she did like a Supergirl story that people really enjoyed. But sometimes she can get full of herself, it seems, or
just full.
Or maybe. And it depends on the company. It really seems that when you're working at DC, you have, I don't know about now, but there are a little bit more restrictions, and you have to actually, rework something if it isn't good. And over at Marvel, it's kind of like, passes.
Yeah, fuck it,
story,
ship it.
No big deal. Yeah.
So there were a couple of Mariko-isms. It was pointed out to me. There was a point where there was a hologram that asked Batman, "Do you even gym?" And they were definitely slopping those French fries down pretty fast.
Well, we know who doesn't gym.
Me.
I'm letting myself go too. It happens.
Neither do I, but
these winter years.
I don't gym. I can't gym. So
you said gin, right?
Oh, I do that. Yeah.
So I do want to say thank you very much to Drew with Comics Elite. That's a good theory. Who knows if she actually wrote that one? I do want to send this one over to where is Jamie? Jamie, as far as I know, is the biggest Billy Batson fan there is. And he says the state of Billy Batson in the DCU ever since the Justice Society book ended has been pretty depressing. Imagine what Bendis did to John Kent, but this has been going on for nearly 2 decades.
Dang.
It's longer than that. I mean, the fact with the simple fact of the matter is DC killed Captain Marvel way back when they basically just realized that, Wiz Comics at the time just had a better version of their character than they did. And so it's always with Billy Batson, it's always trying to recapture the magic of that original iteration of Captain Marvel. And it was just very much a product of his time. If it had been left alone, it might have evolved into the modern time to become one of those classic standard characters. But, it's a great idea. It's a great concept, but it's one of those things where you just have to do like limited series all the time. You just bring it back every year and do a limited series. But yeah. And that's why you end up getting to the point where they just make him into a villain because they don't know what to do with him anymore. They don't know what to do with him.
Right.
So,
Power of Shazam was an excellent series, though, and anybody that's
I love that series.
You're lucky that you had as many great issues of that as you did. I mean, there's a lot of fans. Like, if you were a Champions fan, why would you really be? You've never had that long a good run. In fact, probably most of the Champions wasn't good. And it definitely wasn't long.
but Yule's right. Power of Shazam, I love that original graphic novel that came out. I love the series came afterwards, but that was it. Yeah, it was just like it's really not going to get better than that. Even Jeff Smith's, and I just finished reading it, Shazam and the Monster Society of Evil. It's kind of like I wasn't like a big fan of it, but it's just kind of stuff like that. You just try them out in 2 or 3 years.
So Jimmy wants to know, and thank you so much for supporting the channel, Jimmy from Comic Square. Is there any good Doctor Who comics out there? Doc, has already said he has no idea. So let's throw it to the Doctor of Whoenomics, Yul Carter. Is there a good Doctor Who comic?
No. Maybe it's never translated personally for me in comic book form. I am a Tom Baker fan from back when I was a kid, and I tried even reading the Dave Gibbons, who was a comic book artist when I was a kid, and I just couldn't care. And that was the Doctor that they had in the comic book. I was really excited about it, and it just never did it for me. I know Alan Moore wrote issues, so maybe I'll check those again someday, but I'm definitely not dealing with Eccleston and people like that. That ain't my Doctor. My Doctor has sagas, not just 1 hour episodes. Just
I know. Chris, you seem like a guy who probably likes Doctor Who. You got any comics that ever work for you?
I liked the series, the recent series through Peter Capaldi's time, but even toward David Tennant was definitely my favorite. But I never read any of the comics, never read any of that, so I couldn't recommend any Doctor Who comics for you. But I was at one time a fan of the series. So,
Apparently, I know you like Doctor Who and you like comics. Is there a good comic book Doctor Who one?
Not that I can remember.
It ain't happening, Jimmy. I'm sorry, buddy. Alan Moore couldn't do it.
Not.
Dave Gibbons couldn't do it.
I'm like Jimmy. To me, David Tennant is Doctor Who. So
yeah. David Tennant or the original Tom Baker.
I like the quirky dude. What's his Matt Smith or something?
The original Doctor Who was pretty.
He reminds me of Tom Baker, so that's the reason why I watched most of it. Oh, and what's her name?
I mean, I grew up as a kid, 5-6 years old, watching PBS.
That's how I watched it.
Tom Baker, and that was Doctor Who. And when he died, it was like, well, I guess Doctor Who is done, and I stopped watching it. It's like,
in my opinion, it's Tennant, then Baker, then Smith, and somewhere near the bottom is Peter Capaldi. He's probably the worst. He's the worst Who.
Well, no, he's not the worst Who.
What about the American? There's an American dude.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the American.
Although some people like him.
Capaldi. Come on.
Yeah.
I gotta give a special thank you to Kenneth Alec for supporting the channel. Future State Justice League is bogus. Green Lantern is the greatest detective in the multiverse. Of course, usurping Bruce Wayne. Tim Fox cleaned up Gotham better than his predecessor. Of course, usurping Bruce Wayne. I don't think so. Bruce Wayne, Batman for life. Be great, guys. I don't know, Paley. Does that stuff? I know it irritates me. Does it irritate you when you see that crap in the Future State Justice League book?
Of course, because they're just trying to destroy somebody's legacy. I mean, you don't have to tear somebody down to build up another character. I mean, but for some reason, we have people now that's their belief that you have to tear down the old characters and the icons that took you to where you are, that brought you to where you are as a company. Oh, you got to tear those down so we can make room for new characters. No, that's not necessary at all. It's absolutely, it's weak. It's cheap writing. It's defeatist. It's very disrespectful. And people that are fans of those characters will not tolerate it. They will not come back and buy it. And that's what's going to bite them in the ass on the whole thing with Future State. If they go forward with, Bruce Wayne wasn't really all that, he just kind of, he wasn't that great. He just had money. No, he had an incredible amount of talent. He was extremely gifted. And whether he had money or not, and he's proving that now, whether he had money or not, he was still the world's greatest detective. So there you go. It's
any Future State that does not include Terry McGinnis doesn't count.
There you go. Yeah. That too. And Batman Beyond proves one thing: you can have the old characters and the new characters working together, and for it to work and to be successful. And as long as they keep that in mind, and as soon as they figure that out, then they'll do just fine. But
well, I'm gonna piggyback on what Pele's saying, because that's what I've never liked about the whole approach to the Bat family in general, is that it's always like all of the quote unquote sidekicks, from Dick to Barbara to Jason, all of them are like ungrateful brats. Every last one of them. It's like nothing. Like they barely show any appreciation for what Bruce poured into or imparted into his life. I've just never liked that particular take. It's like sometimes they get Grayson right with that, where he just understands him and Bruce are different, but it's just always this whole thing of like, oh, you ruined my life, Bruce. You ruined my life. It's like, and as a dad myself, there's like at a certain point, even it comes with my wife sometimes. It's like you try to do everything for these kids, and no matter what you do, it's never good enough. It's always because you went left here instead of right here. You suck, Dad. And it's like, are you serious? Do you realize where you live? Do you see the food that you eat?
Yeah.
I've never appreciated that approach.
it's the truth.
Remember when Dick Grayson was like, I'm not going to college, and Bruce is like, yes, you are.
Yeah, basically.
Damn it, hilarious. He's like, you ain't getting my stipend then.
Well, I kind of like what Grayson
Terry
said.
McGinnis is my favorite for that reason.
I like what Grayson said though. After that, he says, "Well, if I'm going, you're going with me because you never went."
Hey, back to school, baby.
But I'm one of those people. I went to college. I went through a lot of college, and I'm one of those people that's like, it's not absolutely necessary if you know what you're going to do. But you know, it's still, for who and what, and considering the circumstances, I think that Bruce was right in that instance. But it's they're as long anyway. Back around to where we were. If they can keep a respectful eye on the past, but they've not shown any inclination to doing that before, so I don't know.
Here's one of the reasons why I've kind of determined that a lot of these creators do that is because they realize that none of their creations can ever come up to the level of the archetypes or the big characters, the A-listers. Not even just the Trinity, like even Aqualad and the other Flashes. Yeah. They have to bring them down. They have to bring the A-list characters down because it's the only way their Z-list Xerox of a Xerox of a Xerox knockoff is going to look anywhere even close.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they will just perpetually pale in comparison.
Yeah,
and they
writing.
Realize that.
Lazy writing.
They don't want to put in the time. They don't want to put in the work. They don't want to put in the effort. And they want the immediate gratification of my character's better than real Batman. My Batman's better. And I want it now. They're like petulant fucking children.
All right, Doug. All right, we got to start wrapping this show up. I do want to say thank you very much to Kenneth Dowling for the $10 super chat and supporting the channel. Very much appreciated. And I got to say thank you to everyone one more time for all the well wishes and the thoughts. Very grateful that you all were there with me through all this stuff. Hopefully, my son will be home tomorrow.
Yeah, we're all praying for the little man.
And I'll definitely keep you guys appraised of what's happening. But let's send this out with some comic book recommendations. Doc, I cut you off. What are you recommending this week?
I'm recommending you buy back issues because, well, you know what? King in Black was good. Was that last week or
this week? That was this week.
That was this week. Yeah. You know what?
What are you talking about? Warren Pax was this week.
Oh yeah, Warren Pax, dude. That first Maestro series was fucking dope. This one is already better. And you know what? That's without having Dale Keown doing a couple of pages interspersed here and there. I actually like this artist better than the main artist on the first Maestro series. So if you're not reading Maestro Warren Pax, go and read it because I think you're finally going to get all that missing story from the Peter David, Dale Keown, and Peter David Gary Frank era of Incredible Hulk from the 90s that was just so good, and how it really even connected into the original Future Imperfect Prestige format miniseries. I think that's how you would have qualified that. So yeah, go Reborn packs. It's so good.
All right, so who else? Chris, what are you recommending this week?
Two things: the Warren packs and the DCeased. Go back and get the rest of it. Check it out.
Yeah.
Damn it!
Definitely.
DCeased Dead Planet. All right, Prele. Sounds like he's screwed you over. What are you recommending?
Yeah, Warren packs was fantastic. DCeased, wonderful wrap up. Just go buy them. Just go buy the back issues on those before they get to be ridiculously priced. I'm gonna say.
No King in Black. I thought that was your favorite.
Yeah. Oh, I loved it, but I figured everybody's already getting onto that. It's pretty awesome. I love the final reveal of who the hero is. The narrator has been. That's kind of cool. But I'm not going to spoil that because it's really cool. But probably keep buying True Believers and keep buying Last God. So there you go.
Boom. Who else we got on the channel to give some recommendations? Yule Carter. You look like you're chomping at the bit.
I am.
Recommend some comics.
I'm actually giving you a comic from a week or two ago. Erratic. You got to get that
Hell
book.
yes.
It is the best. I'm going to say all ages. It's not a young adult. It's just for anybody that wants to read a story about a kid that's a superhero. And I love the way they ramp everything up to the last pages where this kid can only use his powers for 10 minutes. So you're not getting a whole book, but the whole book is action-packed just in in a life kind of way, and I really like it. And then there's
also
the
launch of the new AWA shared superhero universe.
Yeah, it's sweet.
And it's a great start. Sorry.
There's two books you have to know about that are coming out soon. In March, Beta Ray Bill by Daniel Warren Johnson. Ooh. I highly recommend that. I don't care what it is. It's going to be great. And Ed Piskor, who did X-Men Grand Design, he has a book coming out from Fantagraphics. It's on his Patreon page called Red Room. It's going to be horror, and I think you should check that out. Done.
Mm-hmm. He also did the Jack Kirby biography comic, right?
Scaly, I think, did.
Oh, what's that? Well, I get them mixed up because of their...
Scaly, Rugg, Piskor, they're all in the same group.
Their comic book kayfabe kind of thing. All right. Do you have any comic books you want to recommend this week, Jermaine?
Yeah, I'm going to go with basically Power Rangers 3 and Once in Future 15. Those are basically the only two new ones I picked up. I'm going to say I'm being won over by this DCeased thing, so after we're done, I'm going to run out to the store and snatch up all the ones that are left on the stand. And then I'm going to go with just two old school recommendations. I'm going to give a shout out to Heroes Punching 2099 on Twitter, who basically reminded me about Deathstroke the Terminator, that series by Wolfman and Irwin, number 1 through 21. And in honor of the one-page wonder Mark Waid, Captain America 444.
The one-page wonder.
I love that.
That's a great title. That's a great label.
I do want to say thank you very much to Walesy1 for the $9.99 super chat. Thanks for the show. Glad super chats are working again. So am I, and thank you for supporting the channel. I very much appreciate it. I do hope everyone enjoyed this show. Had lots of fun today. I've got some recommendations. Everybody missed the best comic this week. Well, at least in my opinion, it's We Live from the Miranda Brothers. This week's issue will absolutely make you cry. Like, they've been building up. They've been making you love all these characters. Now they're throwing them through the ringer as if they weren't already. And I was blown away by that issue. We Live is easily the best comic series out right now. Unfortunately, it's only a 5-issue miniseries, so the 4th issue came out this week. Catwoman #1 from Future State was the second best issue of Future State yet, right behind Swamp Thing. Both of them written by Ram V, not surprising. Also, I liked X-Force 16. Doc hated it. You'll have to see in Twix this week in X-Men tomorrow on how that came about. But if you like X-Force, I think you like that one. I think that's basically going to do it, folks. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you to the panel. And hey, if you still have time, if you hadn't hit the like button, make sure you do that because we could use the likes.
Smash it.
Smash. Smash.